listening to the Millennial's Choice Show, Canada's most trusted podcast on all things real estate, finance, and entrepreneurship. Here's your host, Matthew Ablakan.
Oh, wow, we are back in the studio, guys. What's going on, Danny?
What's going on, everyone? I'm pumped.
Guys, you know, we're brothers, but we don't see each other as often as people might think. People think we're like joined at the hip or something, but we see each other not too often regularly, like once or twice a week.
Yeah, a couple times a week.
Yeah. But it's always fun when we go to New York or Arizona and we're creating content and we're going in and out. Our girls sometimes think it's a vacation, but really
we're putting in that work.
We're putting in that work, guys.
And I love coming into the office, man. Something about this and just talking about some really important stuff that's happening.
Yeah, well, today we're trying something totally different, you guys. We've got content that you haven't seen before. We're going to be talking about trending topics and things in the real estate industry that are taking place. And these will impact your ability to either invest in real estate or buy a home or dealing with an agent, what your relationship is like with your agent, amongst other things. But before we get into all of that, it's always off the cuff. We do have our notes. Danny's got topics that I don't know about. I've got topics he doesn't know about. So it's always off the cuff. But before we get right into it, I want to do two housekeeping items. Number one, Danny and I are working on a freehold townhouse project in Brantford, Ontario, where we got townhomes starting from $599 with a 10% deposit, which is about $60,000. The best part is you don't actually need a mortgage until 2025 to 2026, depending on which block you buy in. And you don't even need to have all your money in terms of a down payment ready. You could actually save money now, pay the deposit, but secure the property today. So if you're interested in that, make sure you reach out to one of us and we'll be happy to get you more information on that. And then I wanted to ask you ever heard of Landlord?
I haven't, no.
Landlord is this new app, this new platform. I'm using it, and it basically gives you 3 different capabilities. Number one, if you want to know if a deal is a good investment, a worthwhile investment, whether the deal is a rental, so a multifamily rental or even single family, or if you're looking at a potential flip, you can put all the numbers into this platform and it basically spits out whether it's a good investment or not. So it's really easy to use. I've used it. And for that one capability, it's great. The second thing, and I love this the most because I'm a landlord, is that it helps you manage your property. So it could create reports. It could tell you when rent is scheduled from your tenants. If you got like 10 tenants, 100 tenants, you can't do that in your mind. You got to have systems in place. So it helps you do that. And then thirdly, if you have a deal, you want to buy the deal and you don't know where to go to for financing, this platform can put you in touch with the right mortgage product suitable for that property type. It's called Landlord. It's free. There is a premium side to it that if you register using the link in the description below, you get 3 months of the premium version for free. So check it out. The link is going to be in the description. Let's go. Where do you want to start? I'm going to power up the laptop.
Holy, there's so much happening in the world these days, guys, but we have a lot of good topics lined up. I want to talk about the $1.8 billion lawsuit that's happening right now.
Woo! That's a
$1.8 billion.
All right, guys. So I've got CNN here right in front of me. Are we allowed to say CNN? Should we say CNN? I've got CNN. Of course, they're going to be reporting this.
Bleep it out, Carson.
Yeah. After a $1.8 billion with a B verdict, the clock is ticking on the 6% real estate commission. That's the headline of the article. So what is this verdict? What is this lawsuit? And, this is something that we're going to get into like right now because I got to read this to you. It's going to change. I think it's already changed the landscape in the American brokerages, real estate brokerages, and then obviously Canada typically follows suit.
I definitely think we're going to follow suit with this one. So everyone listening to this, it is going to affect you. It's very important. So tune in.
All right. So let's read this for you guys. This is what CNN says. Using a travel agent to buy a plane ticket or a stockbroker to trade equity seems like relics of the past. And yet every day, people across America hire a real estate agent to help them sell a home. It's one of the few industries that has been able to largely avoid the disruption that has helped consumers cut costs in the internet age. And that is largely because of the power of the National Association of Realtors. Danny and I might refer to this as NAR going forward. That's how it's referred to. The largest professional organization in America and a significant lobbying group for the real estate industry. But the verdict handed down in a Missouri court on Tuesday that found NAR and two brokerage firms, Home Services of America and Keller Williams Realty, were liable for $1.8 billion in damages for conspiring to keep commissions artificially high, may mark the beginning of the end of how homes are bought and sold. Two other firms initially named in the suits brought by home sellers, Remax and Anywhere Real Estate, formerly known as Realogy, which is the parent company of Coldwell Banker and Century 21, Sotheby's International Realty, and Corcoran, settled out of court for a combined $140 million.
Oh, wow.
So on top of the $1.8 billion that the other two firms took a chance, gambled, and lost, as a term of this settlement, they each announced a commitment to make changes in their business practices, including not requiring agents to be members of NAR. That's huge.
That is huge.
While state governments license real estate agents, NAR has an extensive code of ethics it expects its members to adhere to. NAR and the brokerages have vowed to appeal the verdict, which means real estate commissions aren't going anywhere immediately. And just to scroll down, because there's obviously a lot here, what was the case about? So basically, it says the cornerstone of the plaintiff's argument is that NAR is forcing home sellers to pay an inflated commission that is then split between their agent and the buyer's agent. The home sellers argued commission sharing as a condition for access to the MLS was unfair and kept commissions artificially high. So
let's unpack this for everybody.
Let's unpack this so that you understand, right? The article goes on to say, typically when a home goes on the market for sale, the sellers offer their brokers a set commission. For decades, the commission has consistently been around 6% of the sale price, usually with a 3% split for the buyer's agent. So the seller's agent gets 3, the buyer's agent gets 3. So let's say we walked into your house, Danny and I walked in, you want to hire us to sell your property. We would come to you and say, you know, the commission's typically 5%, 6%, and then half of that goes to the buyer's agent. Now, that's how it's typically been done for a long, long time. And it's not so that you get access to the MLS. I don't like how these guys made that argument, but yes, if you list with an agent, you get access to the MLS.
Yeah.
That's typically why
that's one part of it. It's one aspect of it. It's not the main thing.
That's one aspect of it. But what's important to understand and highlight, this should be the overarching theme here, is that there is no set rule around commissions. If somebody wants to charge 6% and somebody wants to charge 1%, or somebody doesn't want to charge anything, they could. Or someone wants to charge 50%, like they could. There's no rule around that.
I think that's the problem of what happened here. I think a lot of sellers don't know that. I think a lot of sellers think they always have to give their half or their portion of the commission to the buyer's agent.
Yeah.
And what these guys were arguing and taking these guys to court was they didn't really tell us that we don't have to cooperate or give this much commission to the buyer agent. It's usually just assumed, right? And thus keeping the commissions inflated. So that's kind of what's happening, I guess, here as well too, because whenever you're going to sell your house here, like Matthew was saying, you know, people just assume, yeah, you have to give a commission to the buyer's agent, which it's not, you don't have to do that, but you're kind of forced to in a certain way, which we'll kind of talk more about right now.
Yeah. So basically, let's put it to you guys this way. There have been a lot of companies that have come and gone that say, sell your house by yourself and save the commission. Now, we're not talking about the benefits of paying a good realtor who knows how to negotiate, who networks. How many deals have we done with other agents, even for our buyers, where the buyers are in a bidding war and the agent wants to give it to us because we're close to the offer that's in first place, but they know who we are, we're reputable. When we tell somebody that the financing's in place, it's in place. How many deals have we done? So we're not going to talk about the benefits of hiring a good agent. We want to talk about this case. And this case is very simple. We didn't know, like Danny's saying, that we don't have to pay the buyer agent commission, but these companies are conspiring to keep the commissions high so that everyone in the industry is eating, and they're saying, well, in order to access the MLS, you have to pay this commission. That's the whole reason why I'm hiring an agent.
Yeah.
But here's the thing though, commissions are not set in stone. So while you are not obligated to pay a certain number, percentage or whatever, that's between you and the agent that you're negotiating with, here's how it really plays out in real life. So back to what I was saying about those companies that have come and said, you could save thousands on commissions, just sell the house on your own, sell your property on your own. Well, why do those listings, so people that hire those companies, why do those listings stay on the market longer? Why do they get less money typically than the neighboring property? Why do those two things occur? The reason is that those companies post their real estate brokerages, but their model is that they don't charge a percentage. They typically charge just a flat fee so that you can list the property on the MLS, the multiple listing service. So how it works is that the property goes on the MLS, and then there's a section in the listing that says how much a buyer's agent is going to get paid. Now, typically, those companies, those people that hire those companies will still pay the buyer agent something, but usually it's not 2.5% in Ontario that a lot of buyer agents are used to.
Yeah.
They're used to it. That doesn't mean it's law. So a lot of the times, a buyer agent won't even show that property. They'll steer, which is wrong, their clients from that property. They'll talk crap about that property. They'll just diminish the reputation of that property because they're not getting what they feel they should be getting.
What they're entitled to, right? What they feel like they're entitled to. But
it's wrong.
Like Matthew said, it's wrong. It's not law. But here's the thing though. Realistically speaking, if you're trying to sell your house, right? And your neighbor's also trying to sell their house. Let's say your neighbor's offering 2.5% commission to any real estate agent that brings a buyer. But you're offering, let's say in this situation, you only
2%.
want to offer like 1%, let's say. You're like, you know what? I don't want to pay 2.5. I want to pay 1%, right? Think about it this way, guys. If another real estate agent is showing those houses, realistically speaking, do you think they're going to steer their clients more towards the house that's offering 1% commission or the house that's offering 2.5% commission? I personally think they're going to steer them to the one that's offering more money because let's be real. These people are there to make money. It's a business at the end of the day, right? So yes, you don't have to charge give 2.5% commission, but in a way you're kind of, left in the water, so to speak, if you don't, because then you're not competing as much with the other houses that are in the area listed operating that much money. That's the problem though.
And that's the problem because it's like you're kind of forced as a seller to pay the commission because everybody else does. Yeah. And that's not fair. In my opinion, I've never I never liked that.
Oh, I think it's the biggest scam. It's the biggest scam ever invented.
I've said this and I can't stand the agents that sometimes, like, let's say we pay them 2%. Yeah. My client said, I only want to give them 2. I don't want to give them any more. Why should I even give them anything? And the agent will say to me, no, I want 2.5. And I'll tell them, go charge your buyer. You're allowed as a buyer agent to charge your buyer. Oh, no, we can't do that.
Yeah, so this is the problem.
So this is the problem.
Yeah.
They don't want to charge the buyer because let's say you're a first-time home buyer. Let's use a real scenario. You're a first-time home buyer buying a $500,000 condo. The seller is not paying a buyer agent commission. So your agent, you saw this condo that you really like. You have no idea what the commission is. You're not looking at that. It's not even available to you on these public sites. It's only available on the MLS that we use as realtors. You send it to your agent. Your agent talks crap about the property in some way, shape, or form. But you don't realize that that's because the agent's been told that they're not getting any commission. So rather than them coming to you and saying, hey, Danny, so the property looks great, but I'm just letting you know they're not paying me. So I'm going to have to charge you to represent you in this transaction. They try to steer you typically. But think about it. The commission 2.5% on $500,000, that's a lot of money. That's $12,500 plus HST. As a first-time home buyer, you don't have typically that budget.
No, that's the problem though, because it will impact first-time home buyers, people trying to get in the market. It's going to make it even more difficult, right? Because you're trying to budget for your deposit, your down payment, and for closing costs, right? But the thing that's so shitty about this whole situation is those buyer agents are not, selling themselves in terms of the service and signing a representation agreement with those buyers. They're not earning their commission the way they should be, like a seller agent does, right? When you're signing up a listing, you're not selling the buyer on your services. You're just saying, I'll go show you some houses, and you're hoping that the seller agent's going to be giving you a commission, right? Or the seller is going to be giving you a commission in that situation. I think if they made it a rule to say that sellers are not actually allowed to give the buyer commission, I think that would disrupt the whole industry. I think it would actually make buyer agents have to get better. I think that would be really good for our industry, to be perfectly honest.
So I'm on two sides of the coin. I'm on both sides. From a consumer standpoint, what's probably going to happen is that the reason why a lot of these companies that said for sale by owner, we'll put it on the MLS, pay a fee, and you could sell it on your own. The reason they've come and they've gone is because you're trying to cut out the seller agent who, if you find a solid, I can tell you stories. I'll challenge anyone. Come on the podcast. I get more money from my clients when we're selling than most agents do. Plain and simple. I get better terms. I get better conditions. I care more. Just the other day, as an example, our commission is very low on a particular deal. I'm trying to help these guys out. They were ready to settle at a certain price. I ended up getting them $3,000 more. I didn't have to. They said, go back and accept the price. I tried and I got them $3,000 more. That's $3,000 in their pocket. Doesn't come in my pocket. That's just one example.
Yeah.
Right. Where another agent wouldn't even have tried doing that. They would have accepted the deal for $3,000 less. I just made $3,000. My commission on that is small deal is only $5,000. So I basically pay for myself.
Yeah.
Right. So here's the trick. A lot of people it's not about saving commissions, but those companies that will offer you to list your property on the MLS for a fee, the reason they've come and gone is they try to cut out the agent on the listing side. What this case is about is just about transparency in the sense of, if I want to sell my home, I'm hiring someone, I want to pay that person, I shouldn't have to pay the other person. I shouldn't have to pay other parties that are involved that don't directly come from me. Like I should pay my lawyer and I should pay my realtor. Why should I pay someone else's realtor?
Yeah.
So I agree with that. I completely agree with that. On the flip side, until this becomes law, until this becomes the way to be, basically, if you try to implement this model now, like let's say we said, Millennial's Choice Realty, you want to hire us? It's 3%. We don't care about the buyer agent. Do you think, I'm going to ask you this because I've been thinking about this a lot. Do you think that the difference between us and those companies that were here today, gone tomorrow, do you think the difference is going to be our branding, our reputation, where we could get away with that? Because let me run this scenario by you. I was thinking about this a lot.
Yeah, shoot.
You have a buyer. They see one of our listings.
Okay.
They send it to their realtor.
Yeah.
The realtor notices we're not paying buyer agent commission.
Yeah.
The realtor tries to steer them away. Do you think that they get away with it in that scenario because of who we are now? Our reputation, where the buyer might think twice and say, I don't know why my realtor is trying to say that. Let me look up this company. Let me look up these guys, Matt and Dan. Well, they're all over the internet. They're all over social. They've got over 100 5-star Google reviews. Do you think we could get away with that? Do you think we could bring that model here right now? Because think about it. What if some buyers say, you know what? I don't trust my realtor. What if some buyers say, I don't trust the realtor. Why is he steering me? This is a reputable company that has this listing. Let me go to them directly.
It's a tough question, man, because some people they have good relationships with their buyer agents and some people don't. What I mean by that is some people just use their buyer real estate agent because a family member told them you have to, and they don't really want to. And in those situations, yeah, I think it could possibly work. But I feel like a lot of people, if they have a really good, close relationship and they trust their buyer agent as a friend and they know them personally, then I still think they would trust them more over our reputation personally. If it's a really close knit like friendship or relationship that they have, then I don't think so. I think they'll take their word for it. But yeah, it all depends, I think, on the situation, on the relationship between them. Because there's some people that don't know their real buyer agent. They meet them for the first time, and then they, I don't know, reach out to them online, and then they do start doing showings with them. In that situation, if it's not, they don't really know them for a long time, maybe, yeah, I could see that happening.
Well, think about it. What if in a scenario where what's our biggest issue in Ontario? Supply and demand.
Yeah.
What if in a scenario where we know supply is going to remain low? We know that they're not building more homes fast enough.
Not even close. Yeah.
So what if the listings become the gold?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, hey, buddy, I've got the listings. I've got 10, 20, 30 listings. You want it, you come to me. We're not paying you. My seller's not paying you.
Yeah, I think it's possible, dude. I think the more difference there is between demand and supply, I mean, the higher the demand goes, the lower the supply gets, the more that stretches out. Yeah. I definitely think that's possible for sure. I don't think it'll happen next year. I don't think it's possible for something like next year, but definitely like 4 or 5 years down the road, I think that is a definitely huge possibility where, listings become, if you have a listing, you're really like going hard at it. You know what I mean? And because there's going to be so few listings compared to buyers that are available in the market.
Whether it's this episode or another episode, we're going to be looking at another thing in more depth in terms of, like, for example, what they said that you don't have to be a part of NAR. That's in America, right?
Yeah.
Canada, we have CREA. And I don't know about you, but I'll just say it. I don't think we should be forced to be a part of these organizations. We have CREA, we have TREB, we have ORIA, we have RICO. There's 4 of them. RICO is necessary.
RICO is the governing body, for those of you who don't know.
TREB is necessary. It's your real estate board.
Yeah.
ORIA and CREA, I don't see why they're necessary.
I think if you had we should have the chance to voluntarily, sign up and be registered. Yeah. I just don't like how we're forced.
Well, we'll see what happens with this case. They're appealing it. All the other companies like Remax and stuff settled, but these guys, NAR and these other brokerages that lost, are appealing it.
I think it could go to the Supreme Court. Personally, it's a pretty huge case.
It's going to change a whole industry. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But then why don't we while we're on that topic, why don't we talk about what ORIA is doing with the ORWP, Ontario Realtors Wellness Plan. Say that again. Gosh. Ontario Realtor Wellness Program.
Yeah. I'm not down for it. I just did a survey yesterday, actually, for it.
I did a survey too.
And for those of you guys that don't know, this only applies for real estate agents, by the way, not for consumers. They're pretty much forcing real estate agents to buy into this wellness plan for, health insurance. And I think it's ridiculous because I already have my own health insurance. Why should I be forced to buy into this other health insurance?
You're so selfish. You're so selfish.
A lot of other people have their own health insurance. I personally don't like getting forced to doing shit. Like, personally, sorry, excuse my language. I just don't like getting forced to do stuff.
Is there a reason you're cussing? Is there a reason you're cussing?
I just feel like people need to be given options, man, and choices. I don't like getting forced. Like, we live in a democracy, quote unquote, for those of you that are not watching. We should have the choice. We should have the option. Why would I buy into something I don't need?
Let's give our audience some context. So ORIA, which is the Ontario Real Estate Association, has announced a new mandatory benefits program for all Ontario realtors, known as the Ontario Realtor Wellness Program. This program provides all 96,000 members of ORIA access to health and wellness coverage, including life insurance and other benefits beginning January 1st, 2024, if reconfirmed at the Speaker General meeting of ORIA in November. A brief summary of the benefits of the program is provided here. So listen to this. So no realtor will be required to take a medical test or complete medical questionnaire regardless of age or medical condition to participate in the program. All are admitted to the program. None are excluded based on health. Critical illness coverage of $25,000 up to age 64 and $12,500 from ages 65 to 69. Coverage ending at 70. Life insurance coverage of $100,000, which reduces to $50,000 at age 65. Accidental death and disbursement coverage of $100,000. Prescription drug coverage of $750 per year, reimbursed at 70% for all members of age. I like that one, but I barely use any medication. Paramedical practitioner coverage of $750 per year, reimbursed at 70%. Medical services and supplies coverage of $500 per year, reimbursed at 70%. And then other benefits include out-of-country emergency medical and travel insurance for members up to age 80, unlimited accidental death, dental, and ambulance coverage. Where am I here? Oh, now this is the part that I have a problem with.
You didn't have a problem with the rest of this, of what you just read?
Why would I have a problem with this if it's free?
Well, you're going to have to pay for it.
Well, that's the problem I have. So the cost of the program will be $659.88 per year. And they're going to decrease, just so you know, the TREB fees by $108. And so basically and effectively, it's going to cost us $551.88 per year. So realtors will also have the option to enhance the coverage by enrolling in different tiers and paying for more, things like that. You can add family members to this plan, kids, dependents, as well as like spouses. So I like that part. But here's the thing. So whether you're 65 or 35, we're all paying the same. When you actually go get life insurance, as you know, Millennial's Choice is a vertically integrated company. You could get life insurance here. We have a certified financial planner that sits with you and speaks to you about all kinds of life insurance. You're getting something for Luca, for James, like stuff that they're going to be set. That if our parents did for us through life insurance, by the time we were 18, we could access money. We could go get a loan that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. Anyway, that's one
Shout out to
program.
Trevor Chu, by the way. If you guys haven't spoken to him, this guy knows everything about life insurance. Like, you guys definitely talk to him, because when I was talking to him about me and my family situation, he was giving some really, really good options for us. And we already got insurance, through Millennial's Choice, but Trevor helped us pick out the right plan for us. Really, really great guy. Knows what he's talking about. That's for sure.
That's our certified financial planner. So guys, send us a message. We'll hook you up. Now, here's my thing. You want outside travel insurance? Any Visa card you get now that has $100 fee. I have like 3 of them that give me out of country medical insurance. God forbid something happened.
Yeah.
For like $100 a year. So that already, I'm saving $451. Life insurance, if you wanted to get $100,000 term life insurance right now, at the age of 32, let's say, you're not paying more than like $30
like
a month.
$30. I was literally just thinking $30, dude.
And then I also actually have critical illness.
Me too.
For my business and disability.
Yeah.
And again, it's cheaper than this monthly. So if I group together my credit card, critical illness, and disability insurance, plus my life insurance, I'm way cheaper than this. So why am I forced to do this? That's the question.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Why are we being forced into doing it?
But what about people that say, well, hey, hang on. Other professions have this. Why can't we have it? I would say to them that we are self-employed.
Yeah.
You do not have a union when you're self-employed. If you wanted a union job, go get a union job.
I was just going to say that. And I still don't agree with that. Like, that's the thing that people, I feel like, don't understand when they say, oh, well, this job, I get benefits. You pay into that stuff, guys. You're paying for it. They just don't tell you you're paying for it. It gets taken off your check.
And it's not going to stay $551
no.
as claims come about.
100%. It's going to get increased for all of us.
Who's going to pay for this? The young realtors.
The young realtors,
as time goes on, are going to be. So let's say a young realtor, they start their career I started at 19. Let's say they start at 25. Is that good? 25 is fine. Let's say they have a 40-year career. They're 65 years old. Let's say that this thing costed $600 per year. And it didn't go up. Let's just say it's stuck at 600, which is going to go up.
It's for sure going to go up.
It's mandatory. It's going to go up.
Yeah.
But let's just say it stayed at $600 a year. You multiply that by how many years did we say? At 25 to 65, 40
Like
years.
40 years, yeah.
So 600 times 40 years. They're paying $24,000.
But you're not even counting the compounded interest that you would get if you invested that money. So
No, I'm just saying what the cost
what
is.
the cost would be. Yeah.
At like face value.
Face value. Yeah.
So $24,000 over a span of 40 years. $24,000 is a lot of prescription medication that if you need it, you could just go spend the money on. You don't need to. You're not spending $750 a year.
And if you are, like,
that's a different story.
That's good for you. But what if,
for you.
I was just gonna say, what if you don't need that money? What if you don't need those prescription? Like you just said, I don't really use prescription medication. I don't really need it. And if I do need it, it's like maybe $80 in a year.
The last time I used antibiotics that were
I can't even
prescriptions.
remember.
First of all, for those listening, I showed up today and I'm battling a really bad cold. Carson, I didn't tell you this. I shook your hand. You should be fine though. But I'm coming off of it. It's at the end. You should be good. Danny, I didn't tell you this either. But you can tell in my voice, as Carson goes to wash his hands, you can tell in my voice that I showed up here. But I did it naturally. I had some Halls, I had some lemon water. You know, thank God it's nothing serious. There's people with more serious issues. And I'm not saying that there isn't. I'm not saying that there isn't. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be nice for us to have something like this.
For sure.
I'm not saying that this is going to bring harm to us. You know, I'm not saying that. Maybe for the collective good, it's good. However, Oria has announced a new mandatory benefits program. I don't like that word, mandatory.
I hate that.
I never got into this business for things to be mandatory.
Forced and mandatory,
you know?
yeah.
And here's the thing, like, again, I have my teaching degree. If I want to go be a teacher, I'm going to have access to the union and certain benefits of the union that teachers pay into. If you're a teacher listening to this and you look at your pay stub, you'll see how much money goes to what's it called? Union dues?
Dude,
yeah.
Maddie pays into the union, but watch this. Because she's a supply teacher and she needs to be, you know, with the board for like 8 or 10 years to get a full-time teaching job. She has no access to the benefits. So my wife is paying into the benefits, but doesn't have access to the benefits. That's a scam. Sorry, whoever's listening to this.
Wow.
If you're a teacher,
Maddie,
you're getting scammed. And honestly, it's bullshit because that money could help us right now. We just had a newborn. We can use it, but guess what? You can't use it. Why? Because it's going to the benefits, going to the union. They all complain, or they all say, oh, well, you get such good benefits, things like that. You pay into it. Guys, nothing is free in this world. Like, just wanted to point that out. And sorry, I'm getting heated right now. Nothing is free. You're paying into it. So going back to what you were saying about like the prescription meds, if I get sick, I want to at least have the option to go and maybe pay $100 for my pills. And maybe I won't get sick that year. And I won't need to access the other $650 that I'm entitled to through this plan. All we're asking for is the freedom. Where is the freedom to choose? I don't see it here. And for that reason, I'm out.
You're out what?
No, seriously, like I'm pissed. It's just one of those situations where they're just trying to, impose things on us. And I don't like that.
Listen, buddy, you're living in Canada. As long as you're living in
Canada,
Canada, as long as you're living in Canada, we've been socialist a long time. There's a lot of programs that help a lot of people. And a lot of those programs are great. I'm happy to do it. It's biblical as a Christian to give back to the homeless. It's biblical to help people in prison. It's biblical to help widows, orphans, etc. But we've taken it a little bit too far. I've never seen an organization that's, let's say you're a self-employed individual. Within that organization, we're self-employed. We pay taxes like we're self-employed because we are. We have to pay for our own rent. We have to pay for our own marketing, our own car, everything. And I ain't complaining. That's why I got into this. But you're forcing me to get health coverage, life insurance coverage, critical illness. So now, guys like us that are responsible, because honestly, I'm going to say a part of this are the people at the top that just aren't responsible, that are making us pay for it, that they didn't do it. They didn't want to pay for it for themselves.
Yeah.
Straight up. Because this process, there's a lot of people coming, if you ask most realtors, Most realtors do not support this.
Yeah.
And the reason being is that we have our own coverage. We have our own coverage in terms of not coverage at work. I went out of my way to get coverage, life insurance for me, life insurance for kids, critical illness insurance, disability insurance. So now, what am I going to do with that insurance? Have it as well? Why am I paying there and here?
Now you're going to pay double.
I don't want this program. This program sucks compared to what I can get in the open market, what I have in the open market. That's why this program, first of all, pisses me off, because it sucks. If I go to, you know why they're doing this program?
Why?
Because those people that need it can't get it. They can't get coverage. They have to do a medical underwriting test. They have to do all these tests that are maybe would force them not to be insurable. But hey, that's what insurance is all about.
I was just going to say that.
But hang on. So now they're saying, well, how do we do this? How do we do this? We'll keep our real estate license just to have the benefits. But how do we do this? Well, we're going to bargain. We're going to bargain with 96,000 people. Yeah. 96,000 people. Let's do the math. Every year paying how much? $551 every year. You want to know why they're doing it? Put this number up on the screen. If you're watching this on YouTube. They are making $52,896,000.
They just created that, or are going to create that out of nothing?
Let me run that. 96,000 Aurea members. That's what it said in the report that I just read you, which is from Aurea. Multiply that by $551, which is effectively what you're paying, because the TREB dues are going down. The Toronto Real Estate Board dues are going down. $52,896,000 a year.
That's insane.
A year. I'll leave that with you guys.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to say more about that.
Yeah.
It's all about the money, money, money.
For real.
It's
all about that playing in the background.
Money.
No,
that's what this is all about. So let me tell you something, kids. And I say this while I look at Danny. They are taxing the crap out of us. And it's not going to come in the form of, hey guys, we're raising income tax. It might,
but
very little.
Yeah.
Or HST. It's going to come like this. Carbon tax, more fees, more dues, more this, more that.
It's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening as we speak. And
you might say $600 is nothing. Well, $600 over here, $1,000 over here, $2,000 over here, $4,000 over here, blah, 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 blah. And it is like that.
Yeah.
Oh, all of a sudden your accountant fees went up from $4,000 to $6,000 for whatever reason that they raised their prices because things got expensive.
Luxury.
You're not understanding. Yeah. It's not just what they charge you. It's the ripple effects that it has.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, these guys have no problem paying $600. Let's make it $1,000.
For sure.
Let's make it $800. And you can't opt out of it if you want to practice this career. That's the problem.
It's a slippery slope. Once they do it the first time, then they can just keep doing it, right?
Yeah. So that number is staggering. They just found a new way of generating this much revenue. How much of this goes to the insurance company? Is it all of it? Is it some of it? Is it most of it? Is somebody getting a kickback somewhere? I mean, we do an insurance deal. We do a life insurance deal. You get commissions on that.
Yeah.
Who's getting the commission on this?
That's what I want to know.
It's 96,000 people. And of course, as the numbers every year get added.
Imagine the commission on that, on the 54 million. Isn't that how it would be calculated? Or 52 million? There's commission on that money. That's going into it.
It's a big commission.
That's a big check, though. I wonder who's
benefiting
from it. Benefiting from that, yeah. That's crazy.
Who's benefiting from it? I leave that with all of you guys to think about. I want to get into one more topic before we end this. You picked that one. Or no, I picked that one. Yeah. You want to pick the topic?
I want to kind of talk about what's happening right now with taxes and what's happening with the budget. So I was reading an article and pretty much talking about how we're in a deficit. Big surprise, right? We're all paying taxes. We're paying even more in taxes, right, than ever with the carbon tax and, other things like income tax, HST. And what I want to know is, do you think there's going to be a time where we all just kind of rise up and say, we don't have money to eat? When are we going to be able to have money for our kids? When are we going to have money for our rent, which is going through the roof? When are we going to have money for our mortgages, which are going through the roof with interest rates right now at an all-time high? What are we going to do? Because everything is expensive right now and we're all paying for it. So when's enough?
What do you mean rise up?
Like, when are we going to just pretty much...
I've never seen this side of Danny before.
No, seriously, because
how did you leave the house this morning?
Dude, I'm pissed because like it's hard right now. And I think a lot of Canadians are having a really, really hard time. They're struggling. Why do you think there's people stealing now from grocery stores?
I think the next election will make a big difference.
I hope so.
I think it's just policies, right? Policies, spending policies. And I think the cat's out of the bag. We're seeing that. But I think it's important to note that a lot of the things that are done externally, they will impact you. We just talked about how they will impact you. But I do think that a lot of it is just noise. Like if you just follow I've said this from the beginning. Remember when I used to say in our other episodes, I would say, know the system that you're in and play within it.
Yeah.
That you have to know the system you're in. Saving money when your government is not saving money is a bad move.
Yeah.
Spending money the way your government's spending money is a bad move. So if you don't save and you don't spend, what do? You invest. Do you understand?
Go. That's the key.
You didn't see I was going there, eh? Your eyes
good.
changed.
I like how you tied it up.
You're like, shit, he's got it, eh?
Yeah.
You have to invest. So what do you invest in? Listen, I don't know. All I know is I like real estate. I like what it does. I like the cash flow. I like how it's paying, somebody else is paying off my debts. I like the fact that it's an asset. I like the fact that, I'm not talking about like the place you live. I'm talking rental property. I like the fact that I can go to the bank and say, hey, I want to refinance this piece of real estate. It's worth $1 million and I only have a loan of $300,000. Can I take $200,000 out? Yes, no problem. Because basically
free money, tax free. Yeah.
It's tax-free money.
Yeah.
You have to pay it back, but it's tax-free money. Your tenant's going to pay it back.
Yeah.
And then that $200,000, what do you want to do with it? Well, I want to buy a car. I need a car for my business. I want to buy another property for my business. I want to do this, and that.
Yeah.
I want to consolidate debt, right? You know, what about gold and silver? Like against a government or a currency that's inflating, like, you know, gold and silver, maybe?
I don't even think so,
I don't know.
man.
Traditionally, it works.
Yeah, but like...
Traditionally, it works when your currency collapses.
Yeah, you know, but at the same time,
We're
like,
going
you
through
can't
that,
really
bro.
do anything with it, man.
We're going through that.
When people are starving and they're literally...
You're talking about those, like... You're talking about like that. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like you can't... What are people going to do with gold and silver, right? Like you're not going to do anything with it. But at least having properties, yeah, it's good because it's tangible and it's useful, right? It provides a roof over people's heads. But then you start talking about the rules and laws here that between landlords and tenants, and have landlords pretty much have no rights here. And it's like, do you even want to go invest in that right now in this volatile market? I'm not saying don't ever invest, but I'm saying in this market where if people need food, they ain't paying rent, homie. They're going to buy food so their family doesn't starve, and they're not going to pay rent because they won't have money to pay rent because of how much we're getting taxed and, you know, paying all these different fees, right? That's the problem that I think we're heading into. I only think it's going to get worse with everything being so expensive. When the rates come down, I think it's going to be even worse because housing costs is going to go even through the roof, even higher, because more buyers are going to get in the market, not enough supply, demand's through the roof.
There's no one size fits all to your question.
Yeah.
Like, how can I tell the single mother with 2 kids to do this? She doesn't even have enough money just to pay the bills and to feed her family. How's she going to scrape up enough to save to buy a property?
Yeah.
You know? So there's no one size fits all. The reality is that all these policies that are in place that limit you, you know, whether it's taxes, whether it's more difficult to access credit,
Yeah.
you know, whether it's international spending and whatnot. You know, you could sit on the sidelines and say, but we're doing this for the international community and for the people of whatever. You know, that means to me you hate your country. Like you hate what Canada stands for, what America stands for. You hate it. You hate it because the people, your neighbors, you don't care about them.
Yeah.
And don't try to tell me you care about these people on the other side of the world. When you don't care about your neighbors, when you don't care about who you're living, the country you live in.
Yeah, your own people, let alone your neighbors. Yeah.
It's bad.
It's bad because people are starving, man. People
are
hurt.
So I don't know, Danny. I've been contemplating a lot of things recently. I don't know. I don't know where it'll go.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the world. But the biggest thing is, if you have a voice, if you have a platform, definitely use it. All these things that are getting passed, all these, sensory laws where, what we say, what we publish is getting censored, right? So we have to like, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Stand up and just use your platform to spread the message of, guys, we deserve freedom. We deserve to have the right to choose. Just going back to what we were talking about, the real estate benefits. Why are we being forced to do stuff? Yeah. Why are we being forced to pay this? Why are we being... Did you guys know that, I think it's on their government website. Someone was telling me about it. The Liberal government's website. They want to go zero net emissions. I think it was like by 2035 or something like that. And someone was saying, someone was doing a study. Apparently, if we go to net zero emissions here in Canada, I think that contributes to about like 1% of the carbon emissions in the world. And I'm pretty sure it's China and India combined that have, I think it's like 70%, that make 70% of the carbon for the whole planet.
Someone did a little bit of research.
And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Why are we losing an amazing quality of life here in Canada for net zero emissions when it ain't going to do nothing for the world, bro? Why are we doing this? Why are we all not waking up and standing up?
Because our generation is sleeping. Our generation has been indoctrinated.
Yeah.
Plain and simple, in the universities. And then rather than let's say you and I have a disagreement. What do I always tell you? Bro, bring your facts. Don't bring your feelings. Bring your facts. Don't bring up all your other bullshit. You just brought facts up. When you speak facts, I don't disagree with you. I say you're right. You're absolutely right. Where are all the globalists that are environmentalists that are protesting in London, in America, in Canada, wherever? Why aren't you in China? Why aren't you in India doing that?
Bro, they get arrested right out the gate. They disappear.
Forget about all that. Number one, yes, they don't experience the same freedoms that we do.
Yeah.
Number two, it's because you guys are bought and paid for. The majority of you are bought and paid for by large globalists and corporations that have an agenda. Yep. And so they put you in places to cause separation and divide. And the problem is here in Canada and America, we've had it so good for so long, especially in America, that it's like, whatever.
It is what it is. Kind of
whatever. We won't do anything about it this time. But no. Now you're seeing it get bigger.
Yeah.
When you have a leader that is saying we're going to tax you and then we're going to quadruple the tax, and that tax has a profound impact on food, on groceries, on gas and oil, transportation, and all these things. And people, as you said, are suffering. I don't know what to tell you. And if our generation is sitting there and saying, no, we have to fight for the climate. Yes, but who's the enemy? Who are you fighting? Your own people? Your own neighbors? Where if you just did a little second, you have all these, you wait out line, you camp outside Apple stores to get the latest phone, but you don't know how to use it, to do research that Danny just gave you. And you're going to say, blah, 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 blah. You're going to start verbal diarrhea against what Danny said, but that's the truth. Why are you opposing it? You just need to swallow your pride. Swallow your pride, right? Think about it. Millennials, the selfie generation. Come on, bro. That selfie, selfish. That's where it comes from. Plain and simple.
Wow.
It's all about me.
I never took that in.
Bro, I've gone deep. Bro.
Wow. That's crazy. This guy just opened my mind.
I've gone deep. You think that generation is going to listen to facts and say, oh, you're right? No, bro. Because they need something to fight for. They took away God. They took away family. They took away your identity. They could put whatever identity they want in you. And that's what it comes down to. Plain and simple. We're susceptible now. We're susceptible to auto-suggestion. That's it. That's it. So unless you come from a background of like immigrant parents that, in our opinion, have taught us the right way, the right principles, grow and do what you want, but the right way, and respect your leaders, and we do that. We're still very respectful. You won't be able to see the truth because you've had it too good.
And I was just going to say, to follow up on that, they've had it too good. We've had it too good. And I think people are going to realize, start to realize and wake up and smell the coffee when, they go to the grocery store and they can't buy food because it's too expensive.
No, dude, I think you're wrong. I think what's going to happen is that when universal basic income gets declared, they've already been speaking about it in the Senate. That's been happening. When that gets declared, it's going to be welcomed with open arms. And then when they say housing's no longer something that you should be aiming to achieve, we'll give you the housing, we'll do this and we'll do that. It's going to be welcomed with open arms. Hey, investors are the problem. That's been the message. Investors are the problem. Why should an investor own 3 properties? You can't even own 1. They're driving the prices up. Yeah, please. Why don't you just build more homes? Why don't you get rid of the development charges and the tax? You know how much development charges and taxes are part of a new construction house? About almost 50% of what the charges are development charges. Do you understand? That's the billions of dollars that cities are sitting on. Why don't you build more? Why don't you get rid of those? Cities like Windsor are starting to get rid of those. They need the housing.
Yeah.
They want affordable. That's affordable housing.
They should have done that from time.
They're not going to do that. We just did a calculation on the insurance.
They're making so much money. They're making billions off of that.
They're making billions.
So
at your expense. But you know what they're going to do though? Our generation, which is the large. Why do I refer to our generation? Because I'm part of it. I can. Number 1. Number 2, it's the largest demographic. So they have the power. We have the power. Instead, bro, you don't have God. You don't have family. You don't have identity. They welcome with open arms whatever suggestion they feel is benefiting them. That's it.
You know what they're going to do? I don't know if you heard about it, but have you heard the containers that they're making in Saskatchewan, Alberta?
No, we're going to save that for the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what they're going to do, though. That's what they're going to do.
Why don't you guys Google?
Go live in a container.
Hey, you're lucky. Why don't you go look at cage housing? Why don't you go Google cage housing? We've talked about this on another episode. Go Google that. And you're going to be so miserable, but so numb that you just won't know any better. You just don't have hope. That's what it is. If rather than opening just opening the doors and just saying, build businesses. We want to support small businesses. We want you. Like, why did small businesses get shut down during the pandemic at the beginning when they could have implemented the same processes that big box stores did and actually were then forced to do months later or weeks later? Why did they get shut down at the beginning, not the big box stores? They could have implemented the same policies that the big box stores did, and they actually did implement those policies later.
It's because they weren't deemed essential before.
Well,
but the liquor store is essential.
No, it's because of the big stores, the big corporations that have the money to lobby did that.
Yeah. And
small businesses got shut down. So I rather than saying, open a business, get creative, become entrepreneurial, or if you're going to be working at a company, be the best you can, be an entrepreneur, be whatever, like just motivate your people. No. Kiyosaki said it the best. You either collapse the system or you collapse the people. Which one do you want to bankrupt first? The system, the system that's keeping you going, or the people? Who do you bankrupt first?
Yeah.
The people. Then the system eventually dies too.
That makes sense.
Because without the people, there's no system.
Dude, that sounds like something out of 1984, George Orwell.
Bro, it's been
That's
happening.
crazy, man.
So
Sounds like North Korea totalitarian stuff.
So guys, tune in to our next episode. We're going to be going down the rabbit hole on all these different topics. We're going to be talking about shipping containers, housing that Danny just mentioned. We've got, student debt being the reason why you can't afford a home. Is that right or wrong? We're going to be talking about medication that's being stolen at open houses. You pricks are stealing my father's heart medication at open houses. We are going to be talking about all of this on the next episode. Subscribe, like, share with your family and friends. We love you all. Be safe, be healthy.
We're out.
God bless.